Hi there. Over the past few years, during the time I was actively uploading videos to this channel, which I stopped doing a couple of years ago, and since that time, I have found that I have continued to think about and reference the work of Robert Pirsig in my work, in my social life, and in my thinking. So these two books, Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance and Lila, have obviously been extremely important to me. But there have also been other books that have become important to me as well. And since I think about and return and reference these books over and over, I'd like to do a dive into just why they're so impactful and what they have in common, which is a lot. These books are short, so delving into reading for hours and hours isn't a requirement to get to the point, to get to the gist of what they're trying to say. But the caveat, of course, is to really integrate them and understand them, you have to read them again and again. So they're meditative in that regard. I think these 5 books and 1 essay can be characterized as wisdom texts, and they are On Quality by Robert Pirsig, The Creative Act by Rick Rubin, The Language of Creation by Mathieu Pajot, the Bhagavad Gita, the Tao Te Ching, and the essay On Beauty by Plotinus. Now, obviously, 3 of these, Plotinus, Lao Tzu, and the Bhagavad Gita, Lao Tzu, of course, meaning the Tao Te Ching, have long been considered wisdom texts. That is, texts that you read slowly and periodically in the name of cultivating wisdom, and that change as you transform, and that transform as you change. 3 of them are not classic wisdom texts, but I propose to fit them in this category. I studied Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance and Lila as if they were wisdom texts, but they're actually 300-plus page novels full of narrative, which, of course they're full of narrative, but full of prose, chautauquas, drama, characters, etc. Thanks to Wendy Pirsig, the wife of the late Robert Pirsig, we now have a Pirsig wisdom text in On Quality. This is a beautiful condensation of his work and presents itself as one of these type of texts. Now, in terms of Rick Rubin, I've only read The Creative Act once, so I'm thrilled to be able to further explore it on this channel. And Mathieu Pajot's amazing book shows us the way that underlying patterns manifest in our human consciousness over and over, and at all times, and breaks these down, I guess you could say, in a sort of mathematical way with symbolic charts, without removing the spiritual significance of these patterns. These patterns, his patterns, prove to me, and I think to many of us who've read this, that scientific materialism is a manifestation of the patterns, not ultimate reality in which the patterns come from. I'm not sure what's inspiring me to get back to this channel, but it has something to do with the death of Brian Wilson, the great visionary musician and artist, who is an embodiment of someone who harnessed the true essence of dynamic quality, of the Tao, lived within the creative act, was continually squaring the circle, and doing what he was put on earth to do. There's another inspiration. I guess I stopped actively posting a couple of years ago, and since then the world has changed enormously, not only geopolitically, not only economically, but because of AI and technological progress. Technology seems to be overwhelming us. It throws a real wrench in the system. It adds a new level of static patterns, AI does. And that means that keeping one's boots on the ground and not getting lost in this hyper virtual reality is all the more important now. It's really important to ground oneself and hold the center. In fact, it's of dire importance. The values that underpinned AI are in flux. And I think it's up to us to inform it in the right direction, because some players are genuinely desirous of it being a good thing for humanity, and others want to manipulate humanity, want power and profit, want to create human machine hybrids, and they see this as a wonderful thing. So right now is a time that we really have to be thinking about these things. I feel right now that reconnecting with what's truly real and trying to figure that out is calling to me again. And there's a third inspiration, which is Peter Thiel was talking to Ross Douthat. This interview is going all over the place because some of the ominous things Peter Thiel said. And he articulated a way of coming to holistic consciousness, let's say, or non-duality, Krishnan consciousness, or non-dual consciousness through duality, through piecing together the fragments of human knowledge. And this is totally misguided, in my opinion. There's a theme that within the AI community, when you look at these guys talk, that AI will put together some kind of cosmic consciousness or God through uniting the fragments, the multitudinous fragments of human knowledge. And we know in this little corner that that's bogus. Just read McGilchrist, Ian McGilchrist. You can't revive a dead duck. And as Pirsig said, you can't make a professor of chemistry out of what's left over, the chemicals left over once his body rots on the rock of Prometheus. So we have a lot to talk about these days, and I would like to get back in the discussion if I may. I won't be using AI here, just bumbling along as usual, as I did before. So I hope that makes sense, and I'll see you next time.